Hello friends and welcome back to the channel. I am Cher. So today we have another Luminess airbrush product that I want to test out with you guys. So I have lots of Luminess product videos out there floating around. They have been probably my most popular videos on the channel actually. We'll talk about that a little bit more. So today we got a new one in, and this one's going to be a full coverage spray that you can use on both the face and the body. So a little bit different from what we've done before, but if you want to check out this new product with me, that is a airbrush spray that also has a brush with it, but no device, stick around and we'll hop right on in. All right, guys. So like I said, welcome back. I'm Cher. If you're new here, I like to do a lot of reviews on the channel. I also cover a lot of beauty boxes, a lot of makeup. I do a little freelance makeup as well. So I've used Airbrush and have reviewed it several times here too. So if you like that kind of stuff, you're in the right place. Now, if you are new to Airbrush or you want to learn a little bit more about Airbrush, you don't know much about it, if you would like to know kind of what are the benefits and also when you would opt for airbrush foundation over a traditional foundation, I do actually have a video I did earlier about this back about a year or two ago. So I will link it here for you. You can check that one out. So I won't go into too much detail on the intros and talk all about airbrush and all of that. We're going to do more of a review today. Also keep in mind that I put timestamps in my caption. So if I start getting long-winded, you're getting tired of me talking too much or whatever, you can skip to the sections that you might be interested in. So just look down in the caption and you'll find it there. This time we'll go ahead and open it and show you what we are going to be working on. Isn't that so beautiful? I always love the packaging. This is a PR package. So by the way, I was gifted this in PR. I was not required to do this video. They just like to gift me things, knowing that I am a freelance makeup artist and a creator here and that I share and give my thoughts on stuff. So, but just wanted you to know this was kindly gifted. So here is inside the box, and it came with this a little brush, which we'll open in a minute too. I have not played with it yet. You're going to get my raw reaction. The only thing I have done though is I did go ahead and do a tiny little test swab on my tattoo on my arm. And it's because I'm allergic to tanners. I can't do any kind of tanning product, any kind of tanning spray. I'm allergic to a lot of sunscreens if they're not really good or mineral sunscreens. So I just wanted to make sure this didn't have any kind of like tanning in it, which I don't think it is. I think it's just straight up foundation, but just in case, I wanted to go ahead and do a little patch test on me and make sure I don't break out in hives. So here is truly what it looks like inside. This is the set and we're going to play around with it. So this is the primer. This is the actual airbrush spray, the foundation, and this is a brush that comes with it. So I think this one will probably be for the face. And then this is probably going to be more for the body. You got a couple little like buffing. I think it's a buffing brush. L500 is what this is labeled as. We'll run through the instructions and all just to kind of get a good feel for it. But yes, so this is the airbrush spray, full coverage for the face and the body. Okay, so let's get started. We're going to try out the face first, and then we'll also do the body. I'm going to do a transfer test. And so what I mean by that is I want to see if the foundation is going to rub off on the clothes or not. This is especially helpful to know if, say, like you're a bride and you want to wear your nice white dress on your wedding day, but you might want to, I don't know, cover a tattoo that's somewhere around here and you don't want, you know, the makeup to get all over your dress. And this is one of the benefits a lot of times of a lot of airbrush foundations. Some are waterproof and some are not. Some are transfer proof and some are not though. They do tend to be less transferable in general than traditional foundation, but this one's claiming that it's transfer proof. So we're going to test that out because, you know, that's one of the big benefits of airbrush and when you would opt for this, you know. So we'll do a transfer test. I do want to do a wear test this time because I have gotten questions in the past about how long does this last? Does it last longer than traditional too? And you know, how's it holding up? Can you go for like a full wedding or a formal event and be there all day? You know, I do live in Florida where there's a lot of humidity. However, we're just in the spring here where I'm not sweating too much yet. Now you can see my hair is frizzy and humid. But so I'm not going to be able to give you the full like Florida beach weather humidity at the moment, but it's starting to get there better than it would if I was doing this in the winter for you. So we're going to try to test that out. I also want to test and see if it will cover my tattoos. I have 6 on my body, so we'll pick one and we'll try it out. Okay, so one more thing though, as we are talking about this, and again, if you want to skip, check the timestamps. I am going to address this though real quick. A couple of my past videos, specifically for Luminess. This is where I've gotten, I've gotten a lot of nice comments, but I've also gotten some of the meanest, nastiest comments I think I have ever encountered in my YouTube career. And part of it, you put yourself out there, you can expect some of that, especially when a video goes viral. You're always going to get, a mix of crazy comments here and there or whatever. And it's par for the course. But I am just going to go ahead and tell you that if you decide to leave nasty comments on this video, they will be removed. I want my channel to be a channel of love and light and positivity. I want high vibes here. And I guess it's just, I'm not that kind of person. I would never go to somebody's YouTube channel and call them stupid and idiots and things like that, just because I disagree with where they're holding the device. Wow. So just so you know, if you want to leave constructive criticism, I totally am open to that. I think that is how we grow and learn. And I've learned so much about how to be a better YouTuber and a better reviewer for you guys. Totally don't mind those. It's just the way that you go about saying it. But to do it in a bullying way is not acceptable. And I won't leave those comments on here. I'll just remove them. So you might as well not waste your energy. However, this time I do have a measuring tape and we're going to measure, because this seems to be the #1 comment, especially in the last video with it being the spray one. Everybody's very concerned about where I was holding it. So a couple of things about that. One is, with Airbrush, all different brands of Airbrush and all different devices and types of Airbrush all say different things about where to hold it. Some say 3 inches away from the face. Some say 10 inches away from the face. It just depends. So it's not always a set amount. It's always just depending on what the brand says and what the device says. When I do makeup, like on my clients, it's kind of, when it comes to the distance and judging where you hold it, I just judge it by like, how's it going on the face? If it's going on too concentrated, I back up a little bit. If it's not going on enough and it seems like I'm wasting product and spraying it everywhere, then I get closer. So I don't really, it just wasn't that big a deal to me, but apparently it's a huge deal to everybody else. So I think we'll read the instructions and I will follow the rules to a T for you guys. I do understand from a reviewer standpoint, maybe you guys are looking for exactly how to use it. You want to know it to be exact. So, okay, I get that. So I'm going to do that review that way for you. I'm not doing this for the bullies, just to let you know. All right, so having said that, let's get started. Okay, guys, so I've got my little cap on. This is what I do for clients. Now, keep in mind, if you already have your hair done and you don't want to mess with a little hair cap and mess your hair up or whatever, you could always clip like paper towels or something along the hairline, but you do want to protect your hairline, especially if you have dark hair like mine, because it will leave kind of like a mist all along your hair and you'll look like you have like gray hair. It'll be crazy. So this is what I usually do first. So I have been looking through the instructions, and as I guessed, this brush, this is called the L400. This is more for the face. And then the other one is more for the body. That one was the L500. This one right here, that's the L500 body brush. So we'll get to that in a few minutes. Okay, and then a few more things about the product I forgot to mention. So it says it's water resistant, cruelty free, transfer resistant, and sweat resistant. It's made with aloe that hydrates and plumps the skin and locks in moisture and skin elasticity. Pro Vitamin B for skin conditioning and smoothing, helps retain moisture, providing a radiant glow, and vitamin E that is soothing, moisturizing, and skin conditioning. So a little bit more about what all's in this one. And the face brush. So in the past, I know we've had questions, and I was using it where I did this end for primer and this end for the foundation. But I think that what may be in the more detailed instructions, like on the website or somewhere, somebody told me, might be that this is just more for smaller areas and this is for larger ones. I don't know. I've always kind of used it where like this, I just used a separate brush for the primer versus the foundation, but it probably doesn't matter. Also, guys, I still clean this brush the same way I do my other makeup brushes. I have a makeup cleanser. The makeup Cinema Secrets is what I use for this. Just a side note on that. I guess the only thing I do want to tell you is with, you know, airbrush in general, you want to kind of keep your silicone-based products separate from your water-based products. But with the airbrush spray, it should be the same. But I'm just saying, like, I wouldn't reuse this with traditional foundation, you know, and like mix things. So just a little side note there on the brushes and everything. So we're going to first start off with the primer. It may still be the same priming system. It says airbrush spray, hydrating primer, skin smoothing, long wearing. This is what it looks like. And let's measure. So what does this one tell us to do? For the body one, it's telling us to spray the little brush 1 inch away this time. I don't know if it's going to be the same for the brush. Now, the last one I think was 3 inches is what they said. We're going to measure 3 inches so y'all don't have a fit. All right, let's measure 3 inches. Okay, that is very close, isn't it? Y'all see that? 3. Yeah, no wonder y'all were like, wow. That's really close up, honestly. So in makeup school, I think here's where maybe I get a little confused. They told us to do about 2 hand lengths from the face, okay? Which measures, like when you think about it, it's like this when you're doing the device. And so that's a good 6-8 inches away from the face. You know what I mean? And that's usually about where I hold it when I do clients. So that's probably just, you know, that's just what I'm used to. So I think that might be what part of what I was thinking. But yeah, so for spraying the brush though, I'm going to try to keep these exact measurements for you. But you know, let's try it with the fat end, like you guys are thinking. And it may just be that that smaller side is for smaller locations, right? Ah, yes. Okay, I think that is better. So we're going to just use the bigger brush side for the larger areas. I think that does make sense. And then you can use the smaller ones maybe for like around the nose, small spots around in here, maybe around the eyes. That makes more sense. How's that feel? It feels pretty silky. It feels a lot like my normal primer too. So last time, see, this one doesn't have the instructions here. It only gives us the instructions for the body since that's the new part. So I'm going to have to go from memory. I think we start around like the cheeks, you know, where you want the most concentrated amount, and then work your way around. And you do kind of like little circular motions. And it was 3 inches, the length of my face. Okay. Except for it said it's circular. I feel like that's so much more concentrated though, guys, than before. And this was my shade before. It's looking a little darker, But of course you see that where we first put it on was a lot more concentrated than where it starts dispersing. I honestly don't like it so far and so close to the brush, to be honest with you. But I'm trying to appease y'all. I mean, it definitely covers, but it just goes on a lot thicker that way, as opposed to like building it up. Now this one is full coverage, so that's part of it. It's probably a thicker formula too than the other one that I was used to. I should probably do a comparison video if y'all want to see it. Let me know if y'all want a comparison video of this one against the other spray, other Luminous spray too. I might do that, bring you another video comparing this full coverage to the other one. Or I could bring you a video where we just do, I'm going to try to balance out this side now because this one's on fuller than this one. 3 inches. Remember, it was about the size of my face. Okay. So I could also do one where we just test out all the systems and talk about the differences and compare them too. I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you have a preference, if you want any of those featured videos or not. Definitely going on full coverage. I will consider this probably 2 passes instead of just 1. But if I had stopped in between doing this side and I had just done another squirt on here before touching this side, I probably could have done everything in 1 pass and have this much coverage. So definitely full coverage. Now you can see my age spots are showing through a little bit still. That comes through with every foundation just about if I don't cover, if I don't do like a second round, but pretty good besides the age spots right in there. That's my worst spots. Now, I will say, I feel like this one is not blending out quite as much as the other spray was with it being full coverage, or it could just be with how much concentration I put on that darn brush, whereas before I didn't have as much on there. I'm not going to say I told you so, but yeah. But as I sit and really work on it with the brush, it does seem to be diffusing a little bit. I'm able to blend it. And I talk a lot in that other video about that's kind of the benefits of having this brush as opposed to the device, because you are able to disperse it and build it up more like you would traditional foundation. So very nice. I'm not going to do the transfer test for the face part. I'm going to do that more for the body. So I'm going to go ahead and put on a full face of makeup and let you kind of see how everything looks with the rest of my makeup on. But this is how it is with just the airbrush. Very good. And you know, we could even come back in for a 3rd pass. Why don't we do that? Let's see if we can come back in with a 3rd pass and see if we can cover those spots. I like this part of the brush better. Yeah, I feel like it doesn't want to completely cover it, but we can kind of build it up. Yeah. All right. I like the finish. You can see like it looks natural and like my skin, even though I've got 3 passes of foundation on, you know what I mean? So it does look skin-like. So that's nice. And it doesn't feel heavy and cakey. All right, let me put on a full face of makeup and show you how that looks, and then we'll move on to the body. All right, guys, so here is a full face of makeup with the airbrush underneath. So I didn't go too heavy on like powders and stuff on purpose. I put like just the tiniest dab under the eyes there, but that was it. I did not put powder anywhere where I had like the airbrush makeup. And I am planning to not use setting spray this time. I would normally use setting spray still, especially on my clients for like a wedding or something, but for the purposes of this test, this time I'm gonna not put on any setting spray so that we can see how it looks by the end of the day, holding up just on its own without the help of powders or sprays. So anyway, this gives you an idea of kind of overall how it looks. I think it definitely looks very natural. It looks like my skin, but it's still giving me some coverage. And I really don't even see the age spots really coming through to you guys. I've pretty much got blush covering that spot up, but if they were really showing through, you'd really see it through the blush. And sometimes the blush can almost like amplify the age spots. So it's actually looking pretty darn good now with like a full face on. So let's move on to the body. Okay, so for the purposes of this demonstration, so that you guys can still see, I think I'm just gonna put it on my arm for now because I do have a tattoo on my arm, and just like show you guys how it works on the arm instead of trying to pull you down here to my legs and stuff. I think that'll just be too hard. So I don't know if we should still put the primer on if we're doing our body. It doesn't say in the instructions. I think I'm gonna go ahead and do it though, just like I would my face. Because when you think about it, like primer, like, you know, if you were painting a wall, you want to put the primer down first, no matter where you're painting, right? Like just because you're painting a different section of a wall. I don't know, that's my thought process anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and do the primer. So we're going to take the body brush this time. It says only 1 inch away, which is not very far, is it? Wow. I mean, that's like right here. I mean, that's like right there, isn't it? Okay. If they say so. So they probably want it really concentrated, especially if you're trying to cover a tattoo. Maybe that's the idea. I'm going to go ahead and put it on my tattoo. We're going to use it as like a tattoo coverage and see. So I'm priming. It's already kind of moisturizing my tattoo. Can you see that? Yeah. And then, so here we go. So now we'll go ahead, we're gonna shake it and we'll put the foundation on. So let's spray it. It's gonna be like right at 1 inch, huh? Woo! All right, let's see how this goes. Oh wow, look at that. Okay. I'm gonna do it off camera just because it's easier to buff and do the circular motions when I'm not twisting my arm around. Not covering a lot, is it? Let's try again. If you want to be tanner and do like a different shade, go a couple shades up from your actual, skin tone. And it may be that I don't think this is going to cover my tattoos. I can just tell you that. It's fading them, like, kind of helping fade them a little bit. But I don't think it's going to full-blown cover it. Yeah. But you see how much smoother my skin looks in that area? Look how it like really smoothed out my arm. So you can have this effect, especially if you want to do the chest area, the neck. I tend to, when I do brides and weddings, I get down all the way down into their chest, because if their dress is all the way down here off the shoulders, I'd like for their chest and neck area to be even with their face. And so this can really even you out, but without getting it all over your clothes. So, but I don't know that I'm going to tout this as tattoo coverage. It's just, it's not. Now, we could do some like color correcting underneath and try to help, but I really don't think, even like building up, I'll do one more pass. I don't think that's going to cover. Well, actually, you know what? If you really, that's doing a little better. And I think like if you kind of like really sat it on there and left it there without blending too much, and you keep building up, you might get there, but it's still showing through. Yeah, I mean, but to be honest, traditional foundation's the same way. You're gonna have to keep working to cover. So you can fade it quite a bit. If you had a very faded tattoo, it might work. It might work with color tattoos. I'm just not seeing it disappear completely or anything. But, sorry, somebody's horn is beeping outside, but I think it's gonna really smooth it and even out the skin tone. Let's test out the transfer proof. All right, see that it is white. Now let's see if it stays white. I'm just gonna like rub it on there. Ah, very good. I think it stayed white, so that's good. Let's rub back and forth. You know, if you're dancing and your clothes are rubbing on you. A little bit came off. So for the most part, it should be transfer proof, but if you're rubbing and sweating, sorry, Luminess, not 100%. I wanted to give my honest review, guys. So I think like for the most part, it's pretty good. Now, keep in mind that if you were wearing traditional foundation, the second that you put that dress on, it's going to be covered in foundation. Now, your setting sprays sometimes that are transfer proof will help. But standalone without the setting spray, the traditional foundation is probably going to rub all over it. And this one, you know, it did pretty good in that when you first put it on, if you're not like rubbing, it didn't transfer. But if you start like really rubbing and grinding, it's going to come off a little bit. So that is my take on it. All right. We're going to see how this makeup holds up for the day, and I will report back to you tonight after I've worn it all day, and we'll see what it's looking like. Like I said, I have no setting spray on, and the only setting powder I have is right under the eyes. So I'll be back tonight. All right, friends, I am back. It is now about 7 at night. We did our makeup earlier this morning. So how many hours has it been? It has been at least 8 hours. So we've been wearing this makeup for 8 hours now. Obviously my lipstick's gone. My eyes are still there pretty well. So let's see how the makeup has held up. I'm seeing a little bit of the pores showing through, but my foundation is still there, I think. Coverage is still there. You can tell my concealer has started fading, right? But that's at the concealer part. I didn't put foundation in those areas. You know, that's where it's definitely creasing and moving, especially without having done any setting spray. But we want to look more around this area. I'd say it's pretty good. You know, my blush has faded a little bit, but the foundation itself, I think it has held up pretty well. What do y'all think? It's like, I feel like the texture might be coming through just a tad bit more than it was before, you know, like you can see pores and stuff where maybe it's shifted into the skin a little bit, but it's really not bad at all. It still looks pretty darn natural, in my opinion, after 8-hour wear with no setting powders, no setting sprays. So pretty darn good, guys. Yeah. Cool. Okay, so I think it meets the wear test. Maybe not 100% of the transfer test, but I think it did pretty well with the transfer test. Just not 100%. I think it's just you just can't rub. I don't think it worked as well for tattoo covering, but I still think it's going to work great on the body overall. So if you want a smoother, you know, like coverage across the body, I think it will still be fabulous, especially for like chest area here and neck. Even if you want to put it on your legs or arms to, you know, go with a deeper shade and appear tanner, I think it will work for that. I think it's going to be fabulous overall. I just don't think it's going to like 100% cover your tattoos. And I think it will hold up fairly well with transfer and with sweat, because I mean, I have been outside today. I have been cleaning today. I definitely did sweat. I mean, I wouldn't say I was like Florida weather sweating, but I was sweating and it's held up. and I haven't gotten it all over everything. So like, let me look at my, I'm going to look at my, I'm wearing a long sleeve shirt over my tattoo, and I never did wash off the foundation off the tattoo. So check it out. I think it's still holding up. That foundation's still there. You can see very well. Similarly to my face, I feel like you can see the texture a little bit more now after 8 hours, but still not bad. Like, it held up, and it did not get on my sweatshirt. You see that? Like, of course it's hard to tell because I'm not wearing white and I already have on kind of like tie-dye, but like, it doesn't look like the foundation got all over my sweatshirt. If I had been wearing like traditional foundation on my arm, it would have been rubbing. So for the most part, I think it's not transferring. I think it's just if you really rub really hard, it's going to come off and transfer. So, and that's after 8 hours of wearing it on my arm. So pretty darn good. Yeah. So overall, I really, really do like it. I think the only thing for me would be, I do think that I prefer, hold on a minute, this lighter weight, slightly lighter coverage one. It may not have been as like crazy full coverage, but you could really build it up to that. It felt like it was lighter, or it just might have been my application this time, guys, that I did put it on a lot closer to the brush, like you guys kind of have instructed me to do. It really went on a lot more intense, and it just, I mean, I am a full coverage girl, but I prefer in Airbrush like a little lighter, application and build it up to cover it, if that makes sense. So, but it's still really pretty, really beautiful finish. I think if I had my choice between the two sprays, I'd probably still go with the lightweight is all. But if you need some pretty good heavy coverage, and more for the body and all that, then this one is probably the route to go with. So anyway, that wraps up my review, guys. I hope that was helpful, and I hope that it was helpful for me to measure this time. Like I said, I am open to constructive criticism. Just leave out the hate. All right, guys, make sure you pop that subscribe if you enjoyed it, if it was helpful, and want to see more reviews like this in the future. I may still bring you some comparison ones between the different systems. If you're interested in that, let me know. So you'll want to stick around my channel for more, and turn the notification bells on so you don't miss it. And I'll catch you guys at the next one. Bye.